Paramedics respond to a pregnant woman's apartment in Nashville and find her unconscious on her bed near death. The man inside, who had called 911, seems confused and is acting strange. 3 lives are at stake. One connected to an NFL professional football team, the other a local chef the community adores, and the third, a baby not yet born. My name is M. William Phelps. I'm an investigative journalist and the New York Times best-selling author of dozens of true crime books. I've dedicated the past 26 years of my life to helping families of the missing and murdered. Join me. We're crossing the line. I was thinking about something. You never can tell what is stirring inside someone. You might think you know the person. You've watched them on television maybe, or read about them, followed their career, or have even been friends on some personal level. And you wake up one morning, open the news, and you are shocked into submission by something they've done, thinking, well, hell, I never saw that coming. When I began looking into this case, I was astounded by the amount of praise the guy at the center of it received over the years. Adulation is the word I would feel comfortable using here. And this is what we do with our sports figures at times. We place them on a pedestal and become blind to the notion that behind the 50 home runs every season, the record number of assists and points on a basketball court, or rushing yards and tackles they might achieve for our favorite team, they are just human beings with the same amount of potential for anger, violence, and hatred, and all those other ugly human emotions we have seen so many people exhibit. On the flip side, what a successful sports figure can do for their community, and even the world with that platform and the money that comes with it, shows how much they value humanity. They can spread the good fortune they've accomplished around and do great things. Indeed, there are 2 sides to every coin. It's February 25th, 2023, and the Metro Nashville police receive a 911 call. And the man on the line says, I don't know. I think she's having an allergic reaction. We were eating, cooking, and she said she wasn't feeling good, and I went back into the room. He goes on to say the woman is weak, throwing up, and shaking. He sounds very anxious, his voice stuttering almost. He says and many times, unsure of what is happening before his eyes, I guess. 25-year-old Jade Tristan Benning is gorgeous and successful and has lived in or around Nashville most of her adult life. Born in Little Rock, Arkansas, she graduated from Little Rock Central High School in 2016. And during much of her early life, cheerleading was Jade's focus, which she had an obsessive passion for, Jade's family says, since the time she was 7 years old. So dedicated, she wound up being the cheer captain at Horace Mann Middle School and then captain of the JV and varsity teams at Central High. Out of school, however, Jade was bitten by the culinary bug and a lust for food, which took her to graduate from Bridgewater Culinary Arts in 2020, setting herself up for a career as a chef and baker. By 2023, Jade had worked her way up to head pastry chef at Marabella's Table and chef at Ernest Bar and Hideaway in Nashville, and had also ran a catering business of her own. To know Jade was to love Jade, her family recalls. Her laugh, they added, is contagious. And in her heart, she loved everyone, which is something you cannot say about everybody. Beyond anything else, however, Jade loved nothing more than spending time with the extensive group of friends and family who got to share in her warmth over the years. So, this is someone people in her life love to be around. Yet now, however, she is struggling to breathe as the man with her, who had called 911, is told to see if he can get her on her side. Paramedics and EMTs are on the way. "I think I hear sirens now," he tells 911 at one point during this short call. Back in January 2022, Jade met what seemed to be a promising partner on the dating app Hinge. His name is Blaise Taylor, a former star college football player from Texas who had won over the community and fans at Arkansas State University from his time there between 2014 and 2018. As I mentioned at the top of the episode, the amount of praise written about the guy during his early football career is simply astonishing. There was this feeling, reading it all, that here was a footballer who was going to make it into the pros. He dominated the sport as a youth and into high school. Blaise came from a strong pedigree of sports icons, his father being Arkansas State cornerback coach Trooper Taylor. But not only had Blaise excelled on the field, he seemed to come with the entire package, having earned both his bachelor's and master's degrees even before he began his senior year at college. So not only was he a wonder on the field every Saturday, but he was smart, good-looking, and when Jade meets him on the app, he is working as an NFL scout for the Tennessee Titans, a job he is planning on leaving to become the senior defensive analyst for the Utah State University football team. During that winter of 2022, when Blaise, 6 years older than Jade, met her, he was still with the Titans, a job he was proud of, he tells Jade. They chat a bit on the Hinge app, and the connection fizzles out after a few days. That's how it goes on the dating app. You connect, you chat, one or both disappear. It's not personal. I think anyone who signs up and is honest with themselves knows. It's how we have come to see dating these days. Disposable relationships and people. There was always someone better out there, just one swipe away. 8 months after they first connected on the Hinge app and texted for a bit, and this happens a lot as well on the app, Jade and Blaise reconnect and start talking again. It's August 2022 now. "Let's go to dinner," Blaise suggests. Jade was happy to say yes. Dinner sounded great. That dinner went well. Yet it was not as though they had found each other's soulmate, which I think the dating app itself, the way in which it is designed, kind of acts as an electronic wall in the way of that potential. You go out, you see if the person looks like their photos, see if they are somewhat normal. You talk, you eat. Maybe you make plans for a second date, and something builds from there. I am sure there are stories of people meeting and hitting it off instantly, but those are rare. Jade and Blaise begin what has been described as a casual, non-exclusive relationship, which again is a popular situation on the apps. In this case, they begin sleeping together and seeing each other on occasion. And what is wrong with that? Adults meet, attraction is there, a bit of sex follows. Where's the harm? A month after the casual relationship begins, however, Jade goes to the doctor and finds out that she's pregnant. Not something she planned, the research indicates. She waits until that November, however, and then contacts Blaise to tell him. Some have said that their relationship was complex, According to several of Jade's friends and texts between Jade and Blaise, the feeling is that it was your casual on-again, off-again romance, not some sort of steamy love affair where they gushed over each other and couldn't stand to be apart. All that being said, there is a child involved now. A child Jade reveals to Blaise that she is excited about and will be fully committed to. And yet, if Blaise didn't feel the same way, Jade texted him on several occasions and said it was okay. We can go our separate ways, and you do not have to be involved in the child's life. Your life is going to change in a drastic way, Blaise texted during this time when Jade has decided to keep the child. As if she didn't know that. I mean, come on. You need to understand the gravity of the situation, Blaise goes on, if you move forward with the pregnancy. Again, as if she didn't know. Blaise had made it clear to several people in his life that being a father was not on his bucket list at this stage of his life. He's 30 years old. He's focused on his career. Years before he met Jade, and he was dating another woman, the two of them got to talking about having kids one night. I got a woman pregnant once, he had said. I was very upset about it. I did not want to have a baby with her. Remember now, this is 5 years before he met Jade. Blaise and his then-girlfriend talked some more about how much Blaise was against the idea of having a child. Then it came up that he was actually speaking in the present tense, that the woman he was referring to was actually pregnant at the time. I don't know what I am going to do, he confides in his new girlfriend. She later recalls how distraught he was over what seemed to be a burden to him. He then began Googling, searching for what he could do to induce an abortion. Hey, he says to the woman, can you get me the abortion pill? I can put it in her drink. What? No. The idea was that the woman would never know. Here he was in late 2022, once again facing the same situation. A situation he obviously had not learned anything from the first time. And Jade Benning was definitely going to be keeping the child. As the weeks passed and Blaise and Jade talked more about the situation, look, he told her during one conversation, if you decide to have that baby, I want nothing to do with it. I do not want it to have my name, and I do not want the child to ever know who I am. Nice guy, huh? Stand-up dude. No wonder Jade had picked up some bad energy from the guy and kept her distance as far as a serious relationship. She could tell he was, deep down, a shitbag who only thought of himself. And so they kind of cut ties. If that's how it is to be, then that is how it shall be. You go your way, and I'll go mine. But nothing is going to stop me from having this child. Let's take our first break. There is so much more to cover in this case. As the holidays of 2022 and into the new year 2023 approach, Blaise and Jade begin to talk again and even decide to have dinner one night, which is the same night that 911 call I mentioned earlier is made. If you haven't already, please share a link to the podcast with someone who enjoys listening to true crime and encourage them to check it out. I'd be forever grateful. You are listening to Crossing the Line with M. William Phelps, a true crime podcast. There is a photograph of Jade Benning several months into her pregnancy that speaks volumes about her. She is staring into the camera, and in one hand, she presents a half pint of Ben & Jerry's ice cream, and in the other hand is a scroll of 7 images from an ultrasound she just had done. She's wearing a black top, ripped jeans, white socks, her legs are crossed, and she is sitting on the floor. The stringy, tight curls of her long brunette hair flow gracefully down one side of her shoulders, and this is what I find so compelling. She has a smile on her face from ear to ear. She is happy as any expecting mother might be. This, mind you, knowing that this weak and selfish dude, Blaise Taylor, the guy who got her pregnant, has already made his intentions known that he will be nothing more to this child than a deadbeat, unknown, invisible sperm donor, we'll call him. He wants nothing to do with any of it. And that is according to his own statements. The child in those ultrasound photos is a girl. And Jade has already told her family she aims to name her Ivy. So Ivy Benning it will be. And Jade, she will be okay. She has the support of her family and friends. She is successful in her career. And she will not be the first single mother on the planet doing it all by herself. I have seen enough evidence throughout my career to prove to me that people don't wake up one day after having some sort of dark epiphany and decide to turn to evil as a means to solve their problems. It just doesn't happen like that. There is always generally a history somewhere lurking underneath a facade, telling us of what is to come if we can look far enough back and deep enough into that person and read the tea leaves. I think Blaise Taylor, in just that little exchange I shared between him and his former girlfriend about him wanting the abortion pill, tells us who he is underneath the star athlete and football coach and analyst. To even think about sneaking an abortion pill into a pregnant woman's drink is diabolical. It's violent. It's pathological and criminal. Not to mention, some would argue, murder. Think about what it could do to the woman if she had had some sort of allergic reaction to the pill. The guy considered none of that. Only, I have a problem with the woman I impregnated, and I need to solve it. So, to even consider doing something like that, which he clearly was, gives us insight into the way this man thinks. Blaise Taylor had called 911 and reported that he thought his, let's call her friend, because she certainly wasn't his girlfriend, Jade Benning, is having some sort of allergic reaction. And he told the dispatcher, if you recall, he could hear the sirens as the paramedics were on their way to Jade's apartment. Into February 2023, Jade was trying to get Blaise to own up and take responsibility. She had not given up on the idea that he might come around, which was why on February 25th, she had invited him over to her apartment in Nashville for dinner. And look, if Jade was cooking dinner, being an accomplished, dedicated premier chef in the city, one could expect a gourmet meal like they'd never had. So Blaise he saw an opportunity. Their texting exchange throughout that day shows a casual, friendly conversation, with Jade truly trying to make things at least friendly between them. She was having the guy's baby, after all. Jade had even explained in one text how busy she had been at work that day, with over 150 reservations scheduled at the restaurant. The dinner invitation to Blaise she had extended was done that day. So it wasn't something they had been talking about for more than, let's say, half a day. This was Jade extending a hand outward to say, it's going to be okay. And maybe after your initial anger and response to not wanting to hold up your end of being a dad, maybe you could accept things for what they are and maybe take responsibility. So she was still trying. And why not? She had nothing to lose. Or did she? Just after they finish eating, Jade starts feeling like something is wrong. In Blaise's words to the 911 dispatcher, she is having an allergic reaction. To what is anybody's guess? They had sat down, they ate, Jade began to feel dizzy and strange, and she even picked up the phone and called a friend. And then, that was it. She was out cold, on her bed, and Blaise is on the phone with a 911 dispatcher. When first responders arrive, they find Jade completely unresponsive. She is face down on her bed in severe medical distress, as they termed it, and she has no vital signs. So Jade Benning is essentially dead. Which means what? Her child is also dead. Blaise is there in the apartment as they are working on her, and later, these same first responders say he is both not helpful in any way whatsoever and is actually getting in their way as they try to revive her. What asshole does that sort of thing, I might ask? Make matters even worse by not helping and getting in the way? The mother of his child and the child are in an extremely dangerous situation with their lives on the line, and you find a way to make that situation worse. EMTs and paramedics do not give up, however, and continue working on Jade as she is rushed to Vanderbilt University Medical Center. When they get her to the hospital, staff there is able to get her somewhat back, but she is in a very bad way and in critical condition, as is her child. The doctor later says that when she first saw Jade in the ER, she and the baby were dead. 2 days pass and there is no change in the situation. I mean, she's basically being kept alive by a machine. Then, on February 27th, that second day, they pronounce Ivy, Jade's unborn child, dead. The only thing they can do now is hopefully save Jade. Several more days pass, with Jade still fighting. Although her situation is declining, there seems to be some sort of a chance. Family and friends are, of course, beyond confused and upset and angry, with all sorts of emotions that come along with a loved one, especially someone as loved as Jade, being in such a holding pattern. You can do nothing but wait. You can pray, yes, if you are a believer. But the bottom line is, doctors tell the family, it does not look good. They've done all they can do for Jade. On March 6th, which is Jade's 25th birthday, she lets go, and they pronounce her dead. Such a beautiful soul, someone so adored, is gone. She's so young, just 25. So much time in front of her. She had plans with her daughter. Jade, everyone agreed, would have made the most wonderful mother. She had been so excited to have a baby girl and raise her herself. How the hell does this happen? Jade had cooked the meal herself. A chef who has taken into account people's allergies throughout her entire career cannot cook something she herself is allergic to. It makes zero logical sense on that basis alone. The first indication that something is amiss comes after the autopsy. Jade's cause of death. Doctors say she died from an overdose of cocaine. Cocaine? How in the world? Wait a minute. Ain't no way in hell she would have ingested cocaine being pregnant. Beyond that, there is no drug use history in Jade's life or her past. Alarm bells go off within Jade's family and friends. Someone did this. And there were only 2 people inside her apartment that night. After she had been brought into the ER under that allergic reaction theory, only because of the 911 call Mr. Football, Blaise Taylor, had made, with his immediate suggestion of an allergic reaction, Metro Nashville Police Department officers begin poking around inside the ER under the pretenses that her death is suspicious. After all, law enforcement knows that when a 25-year-old healthy pregnant woman dies under mysterious circumstances, the data has murder as the #1 cause. Not complications from pregnancy or anything else. Murder kills more pregnant women than any other cause. They tell Jade's family to secure the apartment. That is now a crime scene. One of Jade's best friends had taken a call from her, she explains to police, after they begin asking questions. It was right in those first moments after she had dinner with Blaise and began to feel sick. Moments before she passed out. I am suddenly feeling very ill, Jade tells her friend. How so? Vomiting, and I cannot walk, she says. Her friend is immediately concerned and worried. Jade, you need help, now. Her friend can then hear Jade talking to Blaise, who is in the background. Jade is mad and upset about something. Then her friend hears Jade tell Blaise this. You spiked my drink. I know you put something in my drink. I knew it tasted funny. Jade had been drinking a pink lemonade in a bottle when Blaise arrived earlier. Jade then tells her friend she cannot move her legs. And that was it. Let's take our second break and come right back and see how they nail this dude for killing the woman he got pregnant and decided to not take responsibility for. I think a question I'd like to explore is, why? Even after she gave the guy a free pass, right? No responsibility. Did he still think it necessary to murder the mother of his unborn child and his child? You are listening to Crossing the Line with M. William Phelps. We'll be right back. I'd like to let you know I have a new book out, the first book I've published in 5 years. It's called They Came for Blood. I have always wanted to write Westerns, a dream since my childhood. Tom Callahan was once President Ulysses S. Grant's deadliest kept secret, a lethal gun for hire leading a team of assassins nobody knew existed. Now those days are over, or so he thought. Therefore, when the past comes for blood, you either draw first or die trying. Look for They Came for Blood on Amazon.com or anywhere books are sold. Check it out. There's a lot of murder in the book, so it's not a departure from my day job. In November 2022, after she had told Blaise she was pregnant, Jade sat down inside her apartment and pulled up a blank note page on the app in her iPhone. She began writing a draft of a note to Blaise, and in the process trying to figure out the best way to tell him what she needed. Quote, "I think we should cut off communication between us because we cannot keep opening and closing this door when I have made the decision," Jade wrote. "You have said what you do and don't want it, and I respect that and will not involve you at any point." This shows the type of human being Jade was. Caring, empathetic, and willing to accept what must have been one of the hardest things she had to ever hear, that a guy was not going to be involved with his child, a child she was carrying. She ended the note giving him an opportunity, not closing the door entirely, letting Blaise know if he ever changed his mind. She had an upcoming doctor's appointment and he was welcome to come along. If not, and he wanted to bail out of it all, fine. She understood, and that would be it. He was free from what he had seen as the burden of bringing a human being into the world. So, this guy had an out. Jade had given it to him. He wasn't going to be held accountable for creating the child with her. He could walk away, but his ego and his socio-pathetic mind would not allow that to happen. According to the Metro Nashville Police Department, Blaise had spiked her drink with enough cocaine and alcohol to kill her. He allowed her to drink it in front of him, knowing it was not only going to kill his child, but likely kill her as well. That is one cold bastard. Someone who just doesn't care about humanity in the least. Narcissist is an overused term in this day and age of true crime. But if the shoe fits, well, we've got ourselves one right here. It wasn't enough that she had promised to absolve him of any responsibility. The guy had to make sure the child was gone for good and would never come back to haunt him. The question, I think, becomes, was his intent on killing Jade as well? And could a man be prosecuted for killing an unborn child? There was also an issue going into this investigation of the crime scene not being preserved. Jade's family had actually gone into the apartment while she was in the hospital. Jade's mother had collected the blanket Jade had vomited on. The Davidson County medical examiner looked at the toxicology report and could not believe the amount of cocaine in Jade's system. The concentration of the drug was the highest the doctor had ever seen. It seemed there was so much cocaine in her system that it would be physically impossible for her to have ingested that amount herself. Along with the crime scene evidence of that pink lemonade Jade was drinking, the ME's office concluded right away that the cocaine was taken orally. There was no way she could have snorted or injected it. I mean, who drinks cocaine? Nobody. So this is all more evidence that her drink was spiked. That amount of cocaine will, to put it simply, shut all of your organs down in a slow, methodical fashion, finally killing you. And there is, once it's in your system, no way to curtail that outcome with medical intervention. So once she finished that lemonade, she was a walking dead woman. When investigators went into the apartment, there was something strange about it. The scene appeared to be staged, cleaned up. It smelled heavily of cleaning products. That food smell you'd think would be present, having had a meal cooked inside, was gone. They tested all of the glasses and kitchen utensils, and they found nothing, leading investigators to believe that they had all been wiped down and cleaned. Within all of that, the medical examiner had no choice but to classify Jade's death at the time as undetermined, which poses a problem for any further prosecution and arrest. As the months passed, the homicide unit of the Metro Nashville Police Department faced an issue of building a case specifically on circumstantial evidence and any scientific evidence they had collected. Meanwhile, Blaise Taylor accepts a job in Logan, Utah, and relocates. From there, he takes a job in Texas. So the guy is moving around, knowing that someday there is going to be a knock on his door and detectives will have an arrest warrant in hand. There is just no way that Jade accidentally ingested that much cocaine or recreationally decided on that night to start using cocaine in such a large quantity that it would kill her and her unborn child. And that phone call to her friend, that is key to the ongoing investigation as the year 2023 gives way to 2024. On March 13th, 2024, just about 1 year since Jade's death, a grand jury in Nashville returns a sealed indictment charging Blaise with first-degree murder. They could have easily gone for second degree, which would have been an easier case to put in front of a jury. But seeing that they believed the guy's intention was to murder the unborn child, they stuck to their morals, in my opinion, and good for them. They went for it. The Nashville Police Department calls the U.S. Marshal Service the next day. Blaise had just gotten that Texas job the prior week. Marshals pick him up, and he is extradited back to Tennessee and held initially without bond. After his first court appearance, where Blaise pleads not guilty, of course, because why not roll the dice? His bond is reduced to $2.5 million, and the dude has it posted and is now out on bond, pending a forthcoming trial on first and now second-degree murder charges in the death of Jade and his unborn child. Let's take our last break, come right back to conclude this sad and what becomes a very high-profile murder case. I think you and I both want to know why. Why someone kills. Why do we all do what we do? In this case, I think a good question to ponder is how? Like, how in the hell did this guy think for 1 minute he could possibly get away with murdering his own child? The simple answer is hubris and narcissism. Those two things tell him he is smarter than your average bear, and that his plan is the plan, better than all of those before him, and nobody will see through it. Except everyone in Jade's life knew immediately who had done this. She had told friends and family about her relationship with the guy and his lack of any interest in having a child. Hell, Jade herself had accused him of the crime while speaking to her friend on the phone. He must have known right there, during that call, he was caught in the act. Sitting in the courtroom in June 2026, Blaise comes across as a guilty, terrified killer, nervously looking around, staring at witnesses, blinking his eyes incessantly. One after another, the prosecutor does a tremendous job of bringing in experts, cops, first responders, crime scene investigators, doctors, digital phone experts, and others, each of whom places their piece of the puzzle into the picture jurors are forming. They show how the guy hated the idea of Jade being pregnant. They show how he had felt the same way once before with another girlfriend. They show how Jade herself, during a phone call, had accused him of spiking her drink. And they show how the amount of cocaine in her system could have gotten there only one way, by the hand of Blaise Taylor, dumping it into her pink lemonade. The trial lasts just 8 days. As murder trials go, I can tell you that is very short. They use a medical timeline and forensics, and they bury this dude. Jurors take fewer than 3 hours to process the case and conclude that Blaise Taylor is guilty of what are 4 counts: first and second degree murder and 2 counts of felony murder. As each juror is polled, asked by the judge if that is indeed their verdict, Blaise stares at them, blinking his eyes, rubbing his face. He knew. Then the judge explains what will happen next. What the media focused on was that the jury convicted Blaise of second-degree murder in Jade's death and first-degree murder in the death of the unborn child, which, as charges, I think makes perfect sense. He meant to kill the child and not kill Jade. That's what they are saying with their verdict. For me, it doesn't matter, because you get that first-degree murder verdict on the table regardless. The jury then recommends a sentence to the judge, who ultimately has the final say. They vote for life in prison. Judges generally take the jury's recommendation. We'll find out in September 2026 what the judge decides. That'll do it for this week. Be safe. Be aware. Sources for this episode include the trial of Blaise Taylor, an archive of which you can find where I did, on Court TV's website. Crossing the Line is executive produced by M. William Phelps, LLC, and Matthew Valentinus, Mom's Basement Management. Written by me, M. William Phelps. Audio mastering and mixing by Matt Russell. Music by Epidemic Sound. Original music written and performed by Thomas Mooney, Tom Phelps, and Matt Russell.